Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show. Weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's channel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right
to live? Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead, take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media. And you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. You know this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well, but what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button, and everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks. Today we are going to be talking about an interesting subject that a lot of guys really need to hear, accept, understand, roll around in your head, give it to your son, give it to your nephew, give it to your cousin, give it to your friend, give it to whoever you need to give it to. But we got to get this straight. Every black man is husband material, y'all. That's right. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. I know for some folks who ain't familiar with this channel, to you, that's considered diabolical, but it ain't. It's just stating a fact. Every black man is husband material. But before we go into this, let me give some credit where credit is due. We got people who step up to the plate and give financial contributions to the channel, and I cannot do things the same way without these folks. So big or small, I do appreciate it all. That's right, big or small, I do appreciate it all. So shout out to Music Man 1982. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Appreciate you big time. And I definitely prefer. I appreciate the fact that I got so many people who are, chip in a little here, chip in a little there, because it all adds up at the end of the day. So shout out to Music Man 1982. Appreciate you big time, brother. Appreciate you big time. And let me give a couple shout outs to some of the first people to check in this morning, because it's always great that when you start a show, that you see a few folks checking in. Okay, it's always great to see that. And y'all know how it goes. Well, if you've been over here, you should know how it goes, because at every single show, y'all, there can only be one. So shout out to my main man, Gold P, who is what we like to call around here the Highlander of today's stream. So shout out to Gold P. Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. First one in the building today. First one in the building. Great to have you. Shout out also to the main man who put a whole pit crew together to keep us in good shape over here. Shout out to Chef Mike's Roundtable. Glad to have you in the building. Glad to have you in the building. You know, we definitely can't do something the same way without Chef Mike's Roundtable. So shout out to the pit master and the pit crew. Shout out to the righteous teacher. Glad to have you here, my brother. Glad to have you here. I see Floyd Thompson checking in. Yay. Good to have you in the building, my brother. Good to have you in the building. We got Inspired Truth Broadcast here. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Tunnel Runner is checking in. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Great to see you. Afro Merchant is in the house. Good to have you, brother. Good to have you. You know, we're getting a good turnout, y'all. But we're going to get right on into it, y'all. We're going to get right into it, y'all. Every black man is husband material, right? Shout out to Red Black Expat Philippines. Good to have you here, brother. Good to have you here. So let's get into this, y'all, because this is quite a subject, and I know it's hard for some folks to understand. But you know what? This should be a little bit easier for men to explain to women. And I'm going to do what I can to make it easy, okay? You have many people at some point in time, they want to get married, y'all. Okay, it is natural for a woman to want to get married. I understand a lot of men are falling for propaganda, y'all. Propaganda is a real thing. You got to understand that propaganda is a real thing. You're gonna always have people trying to give you messages, and it's your job to figure out if the message is true or not. And there's a lot of people who will tell you that women don't want to get married, which is not true. Okay, most of these people who are going to tell you this, that you probably going to come across. You probably going to come across, you know, if you listen to my channel, I'm assuming you're going to come across a lot of black men who will tell you that women don't want to get married. No, they do. They definitely do. Okay. They may not want to be wives. Don't confuse them not wanting to be a wife with them not wanting to get married. And don't confuse them not wanting to be married to you to them not wanting to be married. Those are two different things. Okay. If you give them a non-black man to marry, it's usually not a problem. Let's just keep it real. It's usually not a problem. Okay. You give them any white man. Okay. And I mean white man in the terms of anybody who ain't black is white. So that means Indian. Okay. That means Hispanic. That means, you know, whatever your favorite Hispanic is. It means Asian, whatever your favorite Asian is, so on and so forth. They will do it. Okay. They will do it. A lot of them just don't want to get married to a black man because they have been trained that you ain't worthy of respect. And a lot of black men have also failed for that training. But let's get down to the real of this, y'all. Why do I say every black man is husband material? Well, first of all, you got to pay attention to a very realistic thing, y'all. There are people who apply for things that just can't quite get there. That's a thing that happens in life. People try to be something, but they just can't quite get there. Okay, many of us have done it when we tried out for a specific team. Usually this stuff starts as a child. You want to be on a team. Sometimes you even get close, but you just can't quite make it. Okay, you want to be on a track team. Yeah, you do. Okay, you think you're pretty fast. Cool. You know, but then see, you've been beating people on the playground because you was a little kid at recess and you was faster than other little kids. Cool. But then at some point in time, you actually go to a track meet. You go see a track coach. You ask about how to get on the team, you know, or you go to tryouts. And you know what? What happens at tryouts? It ain't just any kid running. No. It ain't just any kid. This is where the fast kids come to run. So it's a different level. Okay. Yeah. Beating somebody randomly in your classroom Yeah, that's one thing. I ain't saying you ain't fast because you beat the other kids in your classroom. Of course, in comparison to them, you are fast. They can't ever beat you. You got it. You that dude in your classroom. Okay. You may be that dude in a few different classrooms. But when you go to track practice, when you go to the tryout, you go to a track meet, them ain't just random kids. Those are kids preparing to be fast and to be faster than you. Because it's a competition out there. Okay? It's a competition out there. So, maybe you make the team, but maybe you didn't quite meet the standard in order for you to get on that team. Okay? Happens in all type of things. Okay? Team sports is just a very easy thing for people to kind of recognize. That's why I like using sports example. All right? So just because you want to be on the team don't mean you're going to make the team. And the higher you go up, the harder it is to make a team. Because who runs for college? Okay? It ain't just random kids who went to high school, now they going to college. No, that ain't how it works. Okay? It's the fastest of the fast kids. Okay, now keep in mind, when you was in school, when you was in high school, you got separated from the quote unquote fast kids to the kids who really fast that can actually represent the school. Now you go to college, you trying to get on the same track team with a bunch of other kids that was on their track team. So now you got to deal with the fast of the fast of the fast just to even get on the team in college. Now how are you going to be an Olympian? You got to deal with the fast of the fast of the fast of the fast of the fast. It's called, standards is in place so everybody won't make it. Okay, standards are in place so everybody won't make it. Now, a lot of people want to believe. We want to believe because we credit people where we want to credit them sometimes, even though there's no actual evidence of it. A lot of y'all want to believe, okay? You want to believe that women have standards, okay? You want to believe that. And I understand why, as a black man, you definitely want to believe a black woman have standards. Because we don't want to think of black women and just see, hey, they're a bunch of trifling idiots. That's not what black men want to see. We don't want to see black women say, oh, these are a bunch of dummies that'll just do anything. No, that's not the vision we want to see when we look at black women as a collective. We don't want to see that. Now, unfortunately, we've had to accept some realities that ain't so comfortable, but it ain't like that's what we want to see. Now, there is something that's going on with black women in America. Shout out to all my people listening around the world. Okay. And I know some of y'all got some of the same problems. Okay. Okay. Now, what's the problem? The problem is black women ain't got standards. That's what it is. Okay. Black women do not have standards. Can you find a black woman with standards? Sure. If you look hard enough, you can go out there and you can actually find a black woman with standards. But from a general standpoint, can you find black women with standards? No, you can't. No. You got to specifically search for it. Just is what it is. And before somebody say, no, you talking crazy. No, that's just the way it goes. Just the same way I've told y'all time and time again. I can find you a guy with no legs. Now, do I know a guy with no legs offhand? No. But if you give me some time, I'm sure I could find you one. Okay, are guys generally born with legs? Yes. Okay. Then how do I know I can find you a guy with no leg? Well, somebody out there had a birth defect at some point and their legs probably didn't develop. Somebody, maybe it was in the Vietnam War. They stepped on a mine, survived it, but they blew their leg off. Okay. Somebody worked for the railroad company, had an accident, fell down, legs chopped off. It is what it is. Somebody worked in a factory, fell off a ladder or something, boom, hit the wrong place at the wrong time, sawed off a leg. I can find you a guy with no legs. I'm not saying it would be easy. I'm not saying I could do it quickly. I need some time. Okay? I need some time. But see, at least in a scenario like that, there's places I can go to where up the percentage of me finding somebody in that particular group, because, you know, I'm an instantly go start checking hospitals. Okay. Who had an accident? Let me check nursing homes. Okay. Let me check rehab facilities. I'll find a guy with no legs. They out there. Okay. They out there. You may not see them every day, but they out there. You just got to look hard enough for them. So I ain't going to tell you, you can't find any black woman with some standards. She has to exist. Okay. She has to exist. But in general, black women do not have standards. Now, this is the thing, y'all. A lot of y'all buy into this thing that you're not a man and you're a woman. Because if you buy into equality, you have to think that you're a woman of some kind. Let's just keep that real. If you buy into equality, you have to think you're a woman of some kind. Now, I understand equality in the job market. I understand that when you at work, okay, that's how the jobs say you got to treat people. You got to treat everybody as equal. Cool. You know, it is what it is. That's at work. That's what people go to get paid. So you act a way that the company is asking you to act. Cool. But once you leave that job, all that equality stuff over with. Because you got to be a real person. And you got to be a normal person. And in society, regular old everyday society, women just don't, they're just not men at the end of the day. Now, this is the thing. Some women are offended by that, and some men are offended because the women are offended. Now, I don't know what to tell you. If you getting offended because a woman getting offended that she's a woman instead of a man, I don't even know what's wrong with you. Why you want her to be something other than a woman? You got to ask yourself that question. If you get offended by a woman who's offended that somebody's looking at her as a woman instead of a man. Why are you mad that somebody can see her for who she is? Makes no sense. Now, you already know the woman kind of a loon anyway, because she don't even want to see herself as she is. Yeah, anytime a person refuses to see reality in front of them, people have a normal reaction. The normal reaction is that person crazy. That's a normal, everyday reaction. If I show you a blue blanket and say, what color is the blanket? And you say to me, what blanket are you talking about? I see a green frog. I say, man, I'm holding this blue blanket up in front of you. Do you see a blue blanket? If you say, no, I see a frog, we gonna say you crazy. That's just a person refusing to see what is in front of them. Okay? And if it's not a refusal, that means you actually do not have the ability to connect with reality. It is what it is. Okay? So if you can't connect with reality, you got more problems than I can help you with, or at least I care to help you with. I'm just keeping it real. You got more problems than what I care to help you with. I'm not really looking to help somebody who, if I show them a blue blanket, they see a frog. Okay? I ain't looking to help those people. I'm not saying I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying anything negative about those people. I'm just saying those people require a level of help that I don't believe I really want to go through with. I don't see myself doing. Okay? There's somebody else out there who's maybe a licensed therapist who wants to help. Okay, go to those places. There's people get paid. There's somebody who want to help you out there. I don't care to. It just is what it is. Okay, I don't care to. Now, what does this have to do with men, women, and who is husband material? Well, see, this is the thing. There are people who don't want to see reality. Every black man is husband material. All right. Y'all, I have literally seen black men who have been crackheads. Yes, we go in extreme for the moment. I have literally seen black men who have been crackheads. And you know who they kick it with? Their crackhead girlfriend. I'm not going to assume that they actually went somewhere and got married. I'm just going to assume that crack is such a dominant part of their life that they never had a ceremony. Now, if they became crackheads after they were married, okay, that's a different thing. But I'm just gonna assume the crackhead guys I seen with their crackhead girlfriends, I'm gonna assume that they never actually got a ceremony done. So they might be, they might be married without the state. I can give them that. Okay, they might be married without the state, but he a crackhead man. He got his crackhead girlfriend. Okay. Now, there's people who will talk about couples like that and make fun of them and things like that. But the truth is, that's what it's supposed to be. He's a crackhead and he's with a crackhead girlfriend. That makes all the sense in the world. Okay. Okay. That makes all the sense in the world. Why wouldn't a crackhead man have a crackhead girlfriend? Okay. Shout out to Afro Merch. He say, crackhead stays with boyfriend or girlfriend. Lesson in there, I think. Laugh out loud. Hey, man, it can bring you to some tough scenarios, man. It's some crackhead women that's got a lot more loyalty than some other women. I'm gonna just say that. If the crackhead can be more loyal to her crackhead boyfriend than a man doing something with his life, you tell me what's going on with that woman, okay? You tell me, because the crackhead, she understands commitment, okay? The crackhead girlfriend is down for commitment. A lot of other women can't even accept that. How did crackhead beat you out on the understanding of a relationship? Okay, women can talk crazy and we can talk about the fact that they crackheads, but if a crackhead can keep a relationship longer than you can and you not on drugs, I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying. So now, this is the thing. The fact that a crackhead girlfriend exists already proves that women don't have standards, because I don't care how bad a man is doing. He can always get a girlfriend. It's that simple at the end of the day. Women will talk a lot of crazy. They'll put out a lot of propaganda, but no matter how bad a man is doing, he can get a sister. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I am not the only person who done seen some crackhead guys with their crackhead girlfriends. Okay? I'm sure I ain't the only brother that done it. Now, we got this whole Pooky situation going on too, right? Now, so y'all understand what Pooky is. Pooky is just a brother who could be working, could be developing himself, but he just refuses to. Okay? There's a famous movie role where they named the guy Pooky. Okay? He's in New Jack City. Okay? Pooky could have got himself together. Pooky just didn't do it. Pooky wanted to get on drugs and go out there and kick it and whatnot. Okay? Pooky even got off drugs for a minute, but went right back to it. Pooky could be somebody. He just wouldn't be somebody. Okay? So when I say Pooky, that's what I'm talking about. Now, you don't necessarily got to do drugs, but you just won't keep a job. You're not rich. You don't have no residual income coming in from somewhere else. You just don't have no money being made for you, but you won't go to work. That's Pooky. Pookies normally end up homeless. Okay, so what do Pookie do? They move in with a black woman. Okay? Now, let's keep in mind, y'all, Pooky is Pooky. He ain't got no job. He ain't got no ambition. But he still can get a black woman. He can get a black woman easy. Matter of fact, he can have multiple black women. See, people like to crack that joke about Pookie driving her to work, dropping her off, and then he leave with her car. Okay? Now, even though it's funny when you think about it, it's a lot of ways that is funny. But what does that also tell you? Pookie, who was homeless, going from one chick house to the next chick house to the next chick house, he can get multiple black women. And a lot of people want to say, well, no, it's just he messing with some black woman who don't got it together. it's just some chick in a project. No, no, no. It's not a poverty situation. Okay, it's not a poverty situation. There's plenty of black women out there who done had jobs, and not just any jobs, nice jobs, very well-paying jobs. Okay, they've been managers, judges, okay, lawyers, and they got a Pooky. Pooky. When the last time you seen a Pooky who couldn't get a black woman? I'm just gonna put it like that, y'all. You ain't got to take it from me. When the last time you saw a Pooky who couldn't get a sister? Have you seen any? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know any. Okay, I'm from the hood. Okay, I know dudes from the hood. I seen dudes without no job. Okay, they always got a sister. Okay, I don't care whether he was doing or he was bad, all the way down to the point that I've even known some guys who were literal crackheads, even down to that point. Okay, you know, me and my friends used to make fun of a spot where some hobos would gather regularly. It wasn't just no dudes that was hobos. It was women too. Okay, we used to make fun of this one particular spot. You know, we we was calling them hobos because they was a bunch of homeless people. You know, and they be chilling together. It wasn't like it was just a bunch of dudes. No, it was women too. So I don't care how far the man falls, he always get a woman. Okay, he always get a woman. So what does that tell me, y'all? Well, black women don't have standards, because if let's look at this. If the homeless man can mess with a bunch of homeless women, that makes sense to some people. Okay, they homeless, they gonna do the homeless thing together. You know, hopefully they overcome what they need to overcome. But we know a lot of them ain't. Not to make fun of them, we just being for real. But now, how come the homeless man can pull a woman, but another homeless man can pull a woman who isn't homeless? She has a decent job, or she has more than a decent job. She has a pretty good profession, and she makes pretty good money. You know, how come there's men who are quote unquote bums, but they can still pull a sister who makes $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, $70,000 a year? I mean, the man who's basically a hobo, he living with her. He can't pay nothing down for rent. He can get women making 70, 80, 90,000 a year. Okay, we done heard about guys who done been with some chick, and they be like, well, what's she do? Oh, she a doctor. So what dude do? He don't do nothing. It just is what it is. Some women got kids, some women don't have kids. Okay. Shout out to Mr. Me Too. He said, "Yo, the Roger Report, no link to join the panel, my brother." Oh, okay. My bad. I get that straightened out. Good looking, my brother. Good looking. Okay. So this is the thing, y'all. When we just pay attention to facts, okay, let the propaganda go for a moment. Okay, let the propaganda go for a moment. In general, I don't care how bad the woman's doing, and I don't care how well she's doing. In general, be realistic. Do black women have standards? You cannot say yes from a general standpoint. If you're going to be honest, you got to be real, and you got to understand and accept that they don't. Okay? They don't. So what does that tell you? Every black man qualifies. I ain't make this up. I'm just pointing out the truth. Okay? So let's just get past that truth. Okay? Every black man qualifies. It doesn't make a difference how bad you're doing. I understand you will hear women talking about he don't do this and he don't do that. They just lying at the end of the day. Because when it plays out in reality, I don't care how bad the man's doing. The worse he's doing, the easier it is for him to get women in the black community. And I'm talking about the overall black community. Because it's so many women who just don't have standards. Just is what it is. You know. Now, anybody who don't like that, you're going to have to talk to the women about that, because I ain't the one who told them to act that way. You know, I know people like to get mad at the content creator. I didn't tell them women to act like that. I ain't told nan women to not have a standard. Not nan. Okay? It is what it is. Now, let's also look at this, though. All right? Are there black men out there trying to do something with themselves? Oh, absolutely. Okay. Is black men out there making some headway? Sure. They sure are. Okay. They doing the best they can. You know, it's plenty of black men who are in college or some type of trade school to further their education. They do exist. Okay. There's also some black men who already got jobs. Mm-hmm. Not to mention there are also some black men who, they're in the military. Okay. There's also some black men who have their own businesses. And, you know, it's hard for a lot of black men who are doing something with themselves to find a woman who's worthy of being with. All right. Because what are most black men doing? Most black men are either in college or some form of trade school to further their education, or they do actually have a job, or they do actually run a business, or they are actively in the military. But the vast majority of these men cannot find a black woman to marry. That's why black women marriage rates is so low. Because the men are meeting the women. It's not like they're not meeting the women. But when it comes down to it, they don't approve them to be a wife. Okay? Yeah, they'll have sex with some of them here and there. I'm not going to say that ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? Black women done fought to get this reputation of being the hoes of America. So we know they're having sex. That's not the issue. Okay? But can black men find a woman worthy enough to give her his last name? Well, for the most part, the answer is no. Shout out to the black man who was able to do it. Okay? And now a lot of women try to get black men involved in propaganda, so you would think that it's your fault. Okay? That's all it is. They want you to think it's your fault. All right? Now, who's supposed to compete for what? Let's think about this, y'all. A black woman is supposed to compete so she can have a husband who will look after her. Okay? A husband that will make sure she's good no matter what. A husband that's going to be there for her when she gets pregnant and have children. Okay? A husband who's going to make sure her bills get paid and that she can live a decent life. Okay? That happens. All right? So why would women compete for something like that? Because they want the benefits of it. All right? Now, I know there are a lot of men who've been fooled into thinking that you're supposed to compete for a woman. You're absolutely wrong. You believe you're supposed to compete for a woman. No. Women are supposed to compete for men because they are looking for somebody who's going to basically look out for them. See, in reality, when you go to someone's home, if the lights are off, they looking at the man. If the dishes are not done, they looking at the woman. Okay? That home dirty, they looking at that woman. People can talk all they want to talk about equality and how things have changed and all kinds of stuff. They looking at that woman at that house dirty. All right. But you go to their house and you turn on that light switch and the lights don't come on. You know what I'm saying? You don't make much of it. You just go to the next room, try to hit that switch because they ain't told you the electric bill ain't paid. They looking at the man. Just is what it is. That's what's going to happen. Because men have to perform, period. Doesn't make a difference what the circumstances are. You got to perform. Part of that performance is getting them lights paid for. Just is what it is. That's part of the performance. Getting them lights paid for. All right. Now, as a man, we accept these roles. We find honor in these roles. We don't mind it. We're built to handle this stuff. It's cool. So a woman should compete for my attention. So I will be willing to, if it has to come to that, lay down my life for her. Yeah, she's supposed to compete for me. If I'm going to lay down my life for her and anything less than that, she is supposed to compete for me. All right. Now, don't get it twisted. There are some men who have been misled and they believe they're supposed to compete for women. No, you never compete for a woman. You can approach a woman, and a woman is supposed to be available. And if she's not available, you're supposed to leave her alone and let her be. If you are acting like a girl, okay, and I'm going to call it that. If you're acting like a girl, then you want some other man's woman. See, women will do certain stuff like that. And I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying women do stuff like that because in her head, well, if he can take care of her, he can take care of me. All I got to do is figure out a way to get rid of her and let me get in her spot. No, it's not cool, but that is her competing for a man. I don't compete to take care of someone. I'm going to take care of you. You're not taking care of me. If there's a competition, the other dude already won because I refuse to compete by default. Because why would I compete to pay for you? The prize is not the thing you pay for. The prize is the thing that you get for free. I'm just saying, okay? Because I know somebody going to be out there, well, the woman is the prize. How? There's no way to justify that statement. Literally no way that anyone can justify that statement. So yes, women are supposed to compete for men. As a man, I'm not going to compete with another man to pay some woman's bills. It's never happening. Why would I do that? It makes no literal sense. Okay? If I meet you and you're available, we good. It either works or it doesn't. If I meet you and you're not available, I get out the other man way and let him do his thing. It's that simple. But Inspired Truth Broadcasting jumped on up here. So let him get the mic. What's going on, my brother? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about you? Am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Excellent, excellent. Salute to you, brother. Salute to the brothers in the chat and everybody else. This is whoever else that might be in there too. So I'm going to try to see if I can put this as concisely as possible, or I might have to go and give a little bit of backstory to get it back to the original topic to make sure that it's like understood by everybody that might be listening in on this. So a big part of what I like to see is some kind of unification in the Black spaces. We have a lot of different parallels, whether we're Pan-Africanists or whether we're doing the FBA, ADOS thing, or whether we're here in the Black manosphere. And a lot of the things that we come across that ends up being kind of like divided, it's kind of like different types of ideas of who's being kind of, for lack of a better word, naive, like kind of naivete. One of the things that really disturbed me was kind of holding on to the concept that for a Black man to be taken seriously, he needs to be in a relationship with a Black woman to co-sign his ability to speak on Black issues as a Black man. That's kind of a thing that a lot of us still, in one regard or another, hold on to, even though we've gone into this era where we have social media. We can see black wife effect. We can see the stuff that really isn't like black. It would be like black girlfriend effect or something like that. We have the whole like 99 problems with a ninja ain't one. We have the whole like each thing. There's like always a freaking thing like that ends up coming up that lets us see that, hey, that assumed morality isn't actually there. And so anyway, getting back to it, uh the issue comes back down to like archetype. It's not necessarily about like
Can I
what
ask
you
you one
do.
question?
Yeah,
I
go
just want
ahead.
to ask you a clarifying question.
Sure.
So you said men can't speak the consensus, or or whatever. There's a thought process out there
Huh?
that the man can't speak on women unless he's, you say, married, or what did you say there?
No, this is like even deeper than that. This is that the concept that for you to be taken seriously as a black man speaking on black issues, you need to be in relationship with a black woman.
So he need a woman's permission so he can speak on it.
Correct.
The man, the
You are
man,
correct.
the man that is the leader needs the woman's permission to speak on the issue.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds oxymoronic. I know it's not a real word. Probably should be though. Okay, so the man who is the leader needs a woman's approval so he can speak on something. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I heard that clearly. So, because when nonsense is thrown out there, I just want to make sure I got a hold of what's nonsense and what's not
Well, I mean,
nonsensical. But go ahead.
well, the thing about it is like I don't really want to like beat up on the brothers like that, that still have like that that mindset, like that haven't kind of gone out of the programming and into more of the acknowledgement of what we're actually seeing play out like in our space. Like we kind of at one point or another came to an awareness whether we had to do it kicking and screaming and with it like out there, you know, being dragged into the reality and the mirror and seeing things for what they are. We kind of we're kind of different, but I would like to see like some unification with the other folk at some point if we're trying to actually do that. But getting back to what I was trying to originally say here, like so we end up with that paradigm where we end up kind of in support of that idea, saying, okay, well, you just need to be gamed up. You need to be gamed up. You need to work on this. You need to work on that. Some people say, oh, well, you need to be more productive. You need to have high productivity. You need to work harder, work, do this, get your money up, get your this up, get your passion up, get your that up, get your other up. It's a lot of do, so that women can have more. And at the end of the day, none of that really matters because it's not about what you're doing as much as it's about archetype. Like the women will choose or will be conditioned to give their respect and acknowledgement as a man to, in a lot of cases, non-black men, because that's what archetype they've been conditioned to see as actual men. And they might take your resources, they might take your energy, they might take your time, they might take whatever other tangibles you might have, but they're not necessarily giving you anything that you actually need as a man. Soundbox. Did you catch all that?
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
It's just kind of like leading brothers into a wood chipper, basically.
Well, that's why I say there's propaganda out there. Because see, my thing is I hear propaganda, but I also look at reality.
Mhm.
As a black man, what do I need to get a black woman? Nothing. I never have. I never will. Is that me saying I'm him? No, I'm saying in the black community, everybody him. You don't need actually anything. You don't need a job. You don't need a car. You don't need a house. You don't need an apartment. You don't need a mansion. You don't need money. There are plenty of men with none of these things who got women. Some of them are bum women. Some of them are managers at good corporations. Some of them are judges. Some of them are lawyers. Some of them are even doctors.
Here's another thing to kind of consider them all over. Like there's some people, like some women, that their archetype is actually dysfunctional. So like if you are functional, rejection ends up becoming like your protection in that
What?
regards. Like for real.
Well, my thing is they don't count, so it doesn't matter. What black men need to understand is you need nothing for them. You don't need anything for them. If you have something, it's nice, but do you need anything to get them? Clearly, you don't. And my thing is, it ain't just this, because people try to push this idea, well, that's just happening with the project women. No, it's been judged, it's been caught doing all kinds of stuff, ended up going to jail. Who they boyfriend? Some random gangster with no job.
That's their archetype.
But the point is, you don't need nothing for them. You know, I understand. You think, you know what I'm saying, the ideal of an archetype. I mean, that can play into a preference here or there. But the thing is, no matter what your archetype is, if you want a black woman, you can have it. Because you don't need anything.
Now, here's the question. Like, are we talking about like ox? Or are we talking about keep? Like, you might not even really want to keep like that.
I'm talking in the context of marriage, brother. I mean, every black man is husband material. So we're talking about in the context of marriage. Every black man qualify because we can get them no matter what. We need nothing to have them. So every man qualifies. The issue we have going on is that men don't accept that all of us qualify. So now the thing is, you should have known that before you became an adult. You should have already realized that every man get to be the way he wants to be. Every woman has to meet a man who's willing to take her on. So when you have women that are unmarried in a society, it's because they don't qualify. See, the men do, because we're going to take care of them. Women can literally get married and not have to go out and work out in the streets no more. They can literally just go home to their husband and say, baby, I don't want to do this no more. I want to retire. What husband's going to tell her no? That's going to be few and far between, if you can find any that'll do it.
Not to kind of throw like a whole wrench into the whole works or gum up the works and whatnot, but like, what does marriage even mean now when the average black marriage is like 5 years now? Like, what does it mean?
My thing is, we ain't gonna deal with that now. If men approach things the proper way, you get more than a 5-year marriage. The issue is we're not approaching something the proper way. We're approaching stuff like she matters in the way she does it. First, you got to do your job right. You got to come in there with the right thinking, the right mindset. You know, you got to understand when the lights is off, everybody looking at you. When the house is dirty, everybody looking at her. That's just reality at the end of the day. Some of us ain't got that yet. And if you don't have that, you would probably marry a woman who was unqualified. It just took you a little longer to figure out she wasn't worthy to be married. And then, of course, if you're not worthy to be married, eventually that marriage gonna probably fall apart. You know, it's hard for a qualified man to be with an unqualified woman.
That's another reason why I kind of look at the numbers, and the more I look at that whole it has to be a black woman thing becomes like a non-starter, because we don't really, like, we're in late stage capitalism in a hyper capitalist country. You want to go somewhere where they actually do raise wives.
Well, it doesn't have to be a black woman though. That's the whole thing. It don't have to be a black woman, but that's beside the point, because whether she black or not, every black man qualified to be a husband. Period. You know, that's the important part. I mean, you're trying to go a few different places, but I can't do everything in every show. So I'm trying to get to a particular topic, which is today, and that every black man is qualified to be a husband. The issue is the women can't meet the men's standards. That's why you have a bunch of unmarried women now. We only got like 27% of black women who are married, which means what? That means what's that? 73% are not worthy of it. That's the reality that we need to deal with. And if men start dealing with that reality, you start moving a little bit different. But let me let Gold P get the mic real quick since he done came up. Gold P, you got it, my brother.
Hey, good early. Good early to everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, brother.
All right, all right. Peace, peace, peace to everybody. And what's happening? What's happening? Uh okay. So I look at this in the way of supply and demand. Because if you understand supply and demand, then you understand this topic. Um, and shout out to you, Roger, for bringing this up in this way because I was one who thought that I had to compete. When you're subject to uh, things in the public, and especially when it comes to girls, you got the girls all out there and how they speak. He looks good. He's this. So you get that perception or your idea in your head, like, oh, I got to be like this person. I got to be like that person to even be in the realm of a conversation with this girl or that girl, right? So, I get it. It took a while, and I would say for a lot of boys to men, there is that thing where you're backwards in the game. Let's say you think you have to compete for the girl to get her attention when it's the other way around. She has to get your attention. Back to the supply and demand. When you have a magnitude of, let's say, apples, and here I am, one who's looking at the apples, and the vast majority of the apples, they're all right, but you might have a few that are just right and exact. Well, I'm looking at those apples that are right and exact are the ones competing out of the many for my attention, for me to pick that one apple that's right and exact, that's ripe and ready to consume. Those few apples right there. Or, when you have a bunch of women, females, whichever one, out here thinking that you have to compete. Well, it's more of them and less of us, supply and demand. You have many of them and less of us, then the less of us is in the position to win. We are the ones who choose who we want, but the idea is backwards because they make it a point to say, I need this and I need that. I want this, I want that. And you got to do this and you got to do that. And we got guys who were like me who thought we had to compete for that. And there you go.
Okay. I'm gonna say interesting, not quite on point. I can't quite agree with you fully with that.
Okay.
Because it's not just about supply and demand, but you can take it in the context of supply and demand.
That's why I meant it as an example of supply and demand.
That's but I'm gonna say this is the issue. Men are willing to take care of women. Women are not willing to take care of men. So it doesn't make a difference what the number are. If it was more of us than them, it would be the same issue, even though it is more of them than us. Because at the end of the day, women ain't trying to take care of no man. So they don't count. See, we as men, we try to give them credit for stuff they don't do. I cannot go out here into the world and expect to meet a woman who's going to take care of me for life. She's not going to do it. Now, people can say back in the day, well, women didn't work. Well, black women have always worked in this country. And they still ain't going to do it. Not that any other woman would either. But at the end of the day, they're not going to do it. So that's a false representation of what's going on. And me, I don't like to deal in false narratives. The general woman will not take care of a man. So I'm not going to pretend they will, which means there's no reason for me to go look for a woman to take care of me. The chance of me finding that is next to none.
Okay. But we are in the reality of you still have to acknowledge what the reality is. And the reality is there is some level of supply and demand and what comes along with that.
Well, no. We have an abundance of women that don't qualify.
Okay. So that speaks to supply, right?
But not the issue for the issue don't change anything. The husbands are good. The black man is a husband if he finds a wife. His issue is not who he is. His issue is what the woman is. And the problem is a lot of black men, we just can't deal with what the woman is. The women are not worthy of being wives. No man should be out here thinking he can't be a husband. A crackhead get a woman. If the crackhead can get a woman, you can too.
I agree with you on that, but at the same time, it's just like when you have your bank account. When you can save this, that, and other. This is off the subject or whatever. But when you look in your bank account, you know what supply and demand is. You know if you have money in there or not. So when we look into society and see what our position is, not that I'm against what you're saying, Roger, but I'm saying is the supply and demand is part of the conversation when it comes to a husband.
No, the men, we have an abundance of husbands. There's no issue with supply and demand when it comes to a husband.
Okay.
If you want to make a supply and demand issue, that's the fact that you have husbands that can't meet wives.
Okay.
There is no issue with men. Every man can be a husband,
okay,
especially amongst black men, because just like I highlighted earlier, the general black man has absolutely been trained to serve women. Now, there is some serving of women even when it comes to a marriage, okay? And black men are raised to be husbands. We are raised to say, hey, we're supposed to be responsible for this, that, and that. If something ain't right, you got to go fix it. Those are things husbands do. So even if he was misguided and been trained to overdo it, the general consensus is black men have been trained to do stuff for the women. But do you need anything to be with a black woman? No. You don't need anything. You don't need no car. You don't need no job. You don't need no place to live. You don't need squat.
Well, I agree with you on that.
I agree. So this is what I'm trying to say. I don't understand how you're trying to put in the supply and demand part. I'm not catching what you're trying to.
Well, I'm just using it as an example or equating it. Okay, so you just said there's an abundance of black men.
I'm saying 100% of black men can be a husband.
Okay, let's go with that. And which I don't agree with. I'm not in disagreement with you. I'm saying, okay, there's 100% of men, black brothers, who are qualified to be husbands, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are in agreement with that.
Okay. Yep.
And there are many more females who are not qualified for these men, right?
The clear majority is not. That's where they're not married.
The majority are not qualified for these men who have been trained to be husbands. We're right there with that, right?
Trained or not, they can be a husband.
Trained or not. We know that the majority of females aren't qualified for these men. Can we agree with that?
Yes.
All right. So is the supply and demand conversation indirectly, let's say. I'm just saying that to look at it from a standpoint of supply and demand, where people will look at things from a money standpoint or what they have and what they don't have. This is a supply and demand conversation.
I want to take it a little step.
It's not a supply and demand conversation because a man having the ability to be a husband has nothing to do with whether he's married or not. It's not a supply and demand conversation. The issue that black men have is that we are good enough to be husbands, but a lot of us ain't even accepted that.
Let me take it a step further. Let me keep on with this whole economic analogy deal that we're doing here. So the way I look at the whole dating process is kind of like interviewing for a job, and like we're actually the employers because like we're actually doing all of the different stuff in terms of the house, all of these different things that we provide. But what we had now is like a paradigm where the roles have kind of evaporated, where we're still kind of holding on to a lot of our roles and responsibilities, but at the end of the day, the other side is like, okay, well, you get the ability to give me a paycheck. Like, so like their basic thing is that, okay, you're getting the opportunity to serve me, but then they're not like doing their traditional roles while we're still doing a lot of our traditional roles and leadership.
Okay, this is the thing, y'all. Now I mentioned that what was it, Regina Hall the other day?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
You got women like Sanaa Lathan. Yeah, I was hanging out with Mrs. Z for a while yesterday. We talked about people like Tracy Ellis Ross, right? It's women out here with money, man.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't taking care of no dude. This is what it is. The roles have not changed. People can pretend they haven't, because they got the money, they could do it, but they just won't do it. So it ain't nothing changed about the roles. What we as men do, because we want to rationalize certain things, we want to feel a certain way about ourselves, we make excuses for women. Ain't nothing changed. Because if something changed, there would be women who make, good money, significant money, and they'll go find a man that they can take care of. You see what I'm saying? Beyonce wouldn't get married until Jay-Z was available. You see what I'm saying? Like, did she need a Jay-Z? She been making money since she was a kid. Maybe she was an adult when the Destiny Child album came out. Maybe she was an adult. I'm not even sure that she was actually 18 when that first album dropped. Maybe she was. And if she was, she had just passed 18. I'm sure she wasn't no more than 19 when that first Destiny Child album dropped. Okay, but who she want to marry? Jay-Z, because she don't want to play the role that her husband has to play. Ain't nothing changed. People just talking. See, my thing is, it's a difference between talking and reality. In reality, every black man can be a husband. The issue we got is we won't acknowledge that every black woman can't be a wife. And the only reason a woman isn't married is because she ain't good enough to be a wife. There is nothing else. You either are married or you're not good enough.
That talk that you're talking about is rhetorical devices. And the main rhetorical device that we've had is the idea, the concept that men and women are the same while not even doing the same thing.
And you got people talking about the issue is you have to compete. You don't compete for women. If I'm dealing with a woman and you dealing with a woman, we both dealing with a hoe. We don't compete for women. It's, are you single and available? Right. It's either a yes or a no. I don't compete for no woman. If some other man has her attention, I don't got no business messing with her, because the only thing I can get out of that is a hoe. We're not girls. We don't. I understand the female saying, "Hey, he's taking care of her. Let me see if I can get her spot." Men ain't supposed to do that. So you want to dig down the chick who getting digged down by the other man, and you want to say, "Hey, I can take care of you better than him," when you could just go get a woman who could value you for what you're doing yourself. Because once you take a woman from a man, in her mindset, I don't have to be faithful. Faithful just ain't. That's never going to be an issue for her.
Yeah, she's going to.
He got me, and I wasn't faithful to the other guy. So why would I be faithful to him? That's out the window at that point.
That's all that.
So the only thing you can get is a hoe.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all that scarcity mindset that kind of drives that stuff.
Right. She's going to set you up for failure. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not even saying this is a scarcity mindset. She had just had an experience where one dude was taking care of her. Some other man came along and took her from him, and that dude knew she had somebody. There's no reason to be loyal to him. Why? Because he knew I was with somebody. He understands loyalty is a thing that I don't do.
Well,
I may do something else. I may do a trick in the bedroom. Maybe I do cook. Maybe I do clean. Maybe I do whatever. But loyalty is clearly something I don't do, because I was unloyal to the man you took me from.
Well, once again, I started this out with, as when I was young, I thought that I had to compete for girls, even though I had girlfriends, and I never was one who dirty macked. Never one was who. No, I refused that to dirty mac. But I had girlfriends, but that mindset was still there, because when you growing up with around girls and you around your mom and blah blah blah, they say certain things that you indirectly pick up, and you would hear them talk, and you would hear them say, "Oh, that guy's nice. This guy looks good, blah blah blah," and you would think that, oh, once again, I have to shape myself to be like this guy or that guy. But I didn't learn until later that I was backwards in the game when it came to that. Now I have a saying, hey, I'm not a pimp, but I know policies and procedures. And, I learned those things to change me around, to gain that understanding. Here we go. What's up, Truth, man? What's happening?
Well, I'm gonna say this real quick. Dirty macking usually means a guy talking down on another man.
Okay.
That's not cool at all. So I'm glad you said you wasn't involved in that. I never involved myself in dirty macking. Yeah. But this is the thing, the fact that you're dirty macking in the first place, you just trying to get a hold. Now, if you didn't care about the woman is one thing. But if I got to talk down on another man, what does that mean? She's already with somebody else. She is not the person I'm looking at when it comes to being a wife. She's just somebody to put your dick in. That's all you do with a woman like that.
Yeah, but when you don't,
once she shows she's not loyal to one man, you need to understand she ain't loyal to you. Loyalty just ain't her thing.
Yeah, but when you don't have the understanding, then the competition is backwards, right? Because being that if you're dirty macking, well, you're thinking you're competing because you got to talk down on the next man for this girl, right? So that's a person who lacks understanding or just don't care. I don't care. I don't even know why they do that. But
I'm gonna say once a man starts competing, he's already lost.
Right. I'm with you on that.
But let's go ahead and hear from Truth Teller since he done came up. Go ahead, Truth. Truth Teller, you on mute. Okay, I'm assuming that something got his attention. We're gonna keep it moving. You can jump in when you're ready.
How about this? Like, we still got kind of like acknowledge like where we are like right now, though. Like where we are now is that like there's a lot of women, but not necessarily a lot of ladies. So they are kind of like talking to another dude at the same time.
Hoes do that. That's some hoes do.
It's like kind of the pool right now is there.
Well, the thing is, you got to acknowledge she's a hoe. If she's a hoe, you're not supposed to be talking to her on no serious level. That's just what it is. Because if you're going to talk to a hoe on a serious level, that puts you in the competition. Now you are competing with another man. That's something as a man you ain't supposed to do. The only thing a hoe's supposed to be able to get is some dick.
That's true if you know. A lot of them false flagging too.
My thing is, as brothers, your walkaway game has to be impeccable. Because sometimes you get caught up with you didn't see her as a whole off top, right? And then you started seeing it, but you already, you caught feelings at some point. You have to make a choice and say, hey man, my walkaway game is impeccable. Walk away from it like it didn't even exist. Because she'll get you caught up with that Baduism, she put that on you.
Feelings ain't even supposed to come into play when it comes to it. See, when people get serious, they understand feelings don't come into play about real decisions in life.
Yes, sir.
Who cares how I feel if I find out new information and I understand she's a hoe? I may love her to death. Maybe I was married to her for 12 years. But I come to the crib, I find out she sleep with another man. What my feelings got to do with what's going on? Nothing. She has to be cut off. I love her. I was just in a 12-year marriage with her. That don't mean squat. She gone.
But Roger,
get back to some real. Oh, you go ahead,
Roger. I mean, you can. It's your the way you think, and the brothers in these spaces think is solid, but people who haven't heard these kind of conversations or even entertained having these conversations would think differently. They would go and the man they caught their woman sleeping with, they would take it out on the man, like it was his fault.
Well, on
But
top
it-
of that,
But
but on top of that, we have like the maintenance man, and then we have the baby daddy, and they feel like that doesn't count. Like they're not telling you about that. That's kind of like considered like some sort of a quasi acceptable thing.
what the thing is, when you get new information, you make new decisions. It's that simple at the end of the day. So who cares?
no, it's not that
That's what
simple,
I'm saying.
sorry,
Feelings-
Roger.
I
It
came
is
back
not
in the
that
middle
simple.
of the discussion about
Is it-
hoes.
hold on.
Is that
so-
what y'all talking
Well,
about? Go ahead.
No, let Truth get in. Let Truth get in, because his time be a sensitive. So go ahead,
So
Truth.
I just came in, y'all was talking about hoes. I'm like, I don't listen, man. I ain't going into my whole speech. I'm just saying this. I am now a feminist, and I believe in equality. One thing is, men, we need to take into account is it is not equal between men and women, and the reason for that isn't so much of all the other stuff we've actually talked about in the past, right? Providing protection, blah blah blah. There is one thing that men can offer that women cannot reciprocate in any way, shape, or form. And somebody might comment on what that reciprocal thing that they can offer is, but I'll say it. Every man, even that crackhead living in a box, can offer his woman protection. She cannot reciprocate that value to a man in any way, shape, or form. And if anybody's thinking about bearing his children, you're misled, because he has to protect those children as well. His protection can't, and those are her children also. So there's no way for a woman to reciprocate the value that any man offers her. I don't mean just the rich ones. I don't mean the ones out of jail. I don't just mean the niggas who have never been with a woman. I mean every single male that could be with a woman, even the ones that can't have kids, all of them. It's just something they cannot reciprocate in value. Therefore, we cannot, I repeat, we cannot compete for women, because they don't offer us anything that reciprocates the value that we can offer as men. And that's just the bottom line. Now, we can go through all the other stuff, hoes, and, my favorite topic, of course. We're going to have that stripper party sauce. I ain't forget about it. Playing the lottery, we're going to get there. But in any case, if all men understand this basic fact about the situation we're in on this planet, a lot of things would change, and a lot of mental things would change, but we don't value the one thing that we offer them that they can't get anywhere else as men. And that's what our major problem is. We need to understand what the value of what we provide is, and the fact that they can't get it anywhere else but from us, and the fact that they can't reciprocate a value back to us to pay us back for it. It just is what it is. Feminism rocks.
Well, once again, we have, as I was saying, we have this way of knowledge and understanding, but there are many people who are far from this understanding, or far from even these conversations. I mean,
Well, that's why we talking about this, so they can get there.
That's my point. That's my point. We have these conversations, but I would say, Roger, a lot of them will, crash out and take out the man before they take out the woman. And now let me make this clear. The Roger Report does not promote any type of aggression, violence. This is purely conversation, educational conversation.
I want to pick up on that, because like we talked about protection, but like we also have to pay attention to the fact that a lot of times the rhetorical device ends up becoming that protection is being an attack dog, or that protection is being a crash test dummy, a crash out dummy. And we got like actually make the clear distinction between real protection with leadership versus what some other non-good actors would like to try to transform it into.
Honestly, to your point, that's mainly women. Women have no idea what protection actually is. Protection is discipline. Protection is order. Protection is Your man telling you to do something for your best interest, and you doing it for the interest of you, your family, and your husband. Right?
In fact, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say protection is how you present yourself in public.
And I was going to
Protection
say
is how your kids present yourself, how you present your kids in public.
I was going to say that she is to be just as protective of the man as the man is of her. Here's why. It is because when she goes out in public, well, many men are prone to approach her, provided, you know, she's together, whatever have you. She is one who needs to be just as protective, if not more, than you are of her, because she can get you caught up in so many situations in so many ways, indirectly, directly. She can have you in situations that in your life.
Well, this is the thing. We as men need to understand what we are so we can stop wasting time with stuff that don't matter. Number one, I'm not your husband. I don't care whether you protected or not. That's not even my issue. If I meet you, I'm offering you some level of protection if I actually form a relationship with you. But the thing is, I'm a husband. Therefore, I don't need to be bothered with a woman who already is giving her attention to some other man. Because at that point in time, I'm now competing for a hoe. Once you put a woman in the mindset that she does not have to be faithful to you, that mindset will carry on for the rest of your life. So I can't deal with a woman who's not single. And a lot of men don't get that because we've been taught to act like girls. Yo, you got a man? Yeah, I got a man. Well, what your man got to do with me? Now, I know it was a cool song back in the day. I know some guys do it and think they be real player with it and all that type of stuff. But if you actually keep a woman who left a man to be with you, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
But the thing is, the issue we have is that our society acts like men aren't husbands, but women are wives. That's where our issue is. The men are husbands. Even the crackhead can pull. I ain't seen crackheads who can't pull a woman. I just ain't never seen it. But like I said, me and my friend used to make fun of a place. It's a certain lot they go to. Well, we make all kinds of jokes. Them men had plenty of women through that lot. Plenty of them. And they was crackheads at the end of the day, or whatever was their drug of choice. But they was a bunch of homeless men going to the same spot, and they have women there with them on a regular basis. It just is what it is. So now my thing is, people say, well, what you just talking about people who real low on the totem. No, because the lawyers and the judges, they doing the same thing. They doing the same thing. People say, well, how does those quote unquote homosexuals exist? Well, they got to have a woman who's willing to put up with them. The woman has to have the apartment. The woman got to have the house. The woman got to have the mansion. Because how he gonna live off her if she don't have it already?
Yeah.
So the point is, they have no standard. Every black man is good enough to be a husband, because you good enough automatically because you're a man when you're dealing with a group of women who have no standards. The issue is we, for whatever reason, try to make excuses for them where they cannot meet our standards. You have men talking all the time about you got to compete for a woman. Why would you do something that stupid? It don't make no literal sense. I've never competed for a woman. If I meet a woman, she's single and available, or she doesn't exist. It's that simple.
You mad at that, Roger? That's a good way to think, brother. I like that.
No, I'm dead serious.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know, if you tell me you're not interested, you no longer exist to me.
Yeah. Hey, look, and I had put in the chat earlier that Keisha, Wilma, you know, you guys know I have these titles for, you know, white people, you know, either Whiskey Mike or Wilma. Wilma and Keisha will go and pick up Pooky on the corner and clean him up. Give him money, feed him, everything, take him home, do all of that. Because they, you know, want his attention, whatever, however they can get it. They will go do that. I mean, off top, I've seen this happen, and you know, been engaged in conversations with cats. This is part of the game, you know. Just for the record.
Well, it's a lot easier to get attention from a bum than it is from a guy who's doing something with himself.
Hey.
That's just I've talked about this many a time. That's just women looking for compromised men. Because they think they can control a compromised man. They think they're gonna have a much easier time getting attention from him. That's why a lot of women don't even trip about what the man doing while she at work. Why do you think a woman gives a man her car while she's at work? He ain't going to get no job. We know that already. So what do you need the car for?
Even change the tire.
They know what they doing.
He going
the
to
whole
the club
issue
to find truth.
Yeah. Go do you. But when I get off work, you be up here on time to pick me up. And for the rest of the night, you give me all the attention. I can't really accept your attention right now because I'm finna go make this money. But once I get off work, you're supposed to be my attention boy.
And don't have me waiting.
Yeah, right. True.
When I walk out this job, you're supposed to be out there waiting on me.
Yeah,
you know that's what I'm telling them.
Yeah. Hey, have you guys seen? I think it was Love After Lockup. I think it was, and you see literally.
I mean, before you even say what we see, I haven't seen it, but the title alone tells you something,
right? Right, Roger. You see, I mean, Love After Lockup. Look, I mean, one episode, she went and picked him up. She got mad at him because he was out with his friend. He didn't go directly to her house and do that work, but she was mad at him, but yet she's still with the go get him, like you said, Roger. Love after lockup. She was seeking to have some love after he got out, and he made different decisions. It's just now she's all traumatized and everything.
I am gonna say this though, Roger. I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna knock them hoes. All right, we need those hoes in society because there's brothers that need to step up. And if them hoes is gonna do it, I'm not knocking the productive hoes. Okay, I'll knock the unproductive ones. Let's do that.
Well, I'm not knocking any of them. My thing is the issue we have. No, I'm dead serious. The issue we have is we've been taught to act like girls. I'm not saying us on the panel, but we've been taught to act like girls. And we act like this stuff is cool.
Yeah,
because we believe we're supposed to compete for women. I don't never compete for it. Can't even. That's the farthest thing from my mind is competing for a woman. The moment I'm in competition, I'm competing for a hoe. The main thing men want from a woman is loyalty. If I have to compete for her, how can I ever have that? I get to win. So all I did, I won. Okay, I won the woman who I was competing with other men with. So what did I win? I won a hoe. and in her mind, she does not have to be loyal to me. She's been in my face not being loyal to me. So why would she think she should ever be loyal? How is that ever going to be a good idea to her? Well, I didn't get them acting loyal. So I'm going to keep them not acting loyal.
Right.
But we as men talking about, well, we got to compete. All this stuff about I got to get this car, I got to get this apartment, I got to get this house. Yeah, all that possibly can help you with a decent woman. I'm not saying it can't help you with a decent woman, but let me tell y'all something about decent women. They don't care what you got. Decent women just want to see you doing something. Now, how much of the something, they don't really care. That's why decent women get married around 22, 23 years old. They not on the market like that. Everybody who's still on the market is a bunch of losers when it comes to the women. Now, I let them get to 30 before I say they officially a loser. But why can't you get married to a man and you 22, 23, 24? You supposed to already be a wife at 18. What is so difficult about you being loyal to one man? Because that's one of the main issues we're dealing with. The women ain't trying to be loyal to one man. That's why they got to be out in the streets. And they mama telling them to do stuff like, you don't even know yourself. You need to jump on about 12 more dicks to get a real clue of what you like sexually. See, that's just your first guy, so you just a little excited. That don't mean nothing. He may have a little dick.
That's the real game.
I mean, that's the real game.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yes, sir.
Now I am gonna show a clip because I was at Mrs. Z's yesterday, last night, something like that. You know what I'm saying? And he showed a clip of a woman. Now, granted, I know nothing about who this woman is, y'all. Okay. I just know what they told me. They say she's 37 years old, and she has spoken to some celebrities. That's all I really know at this point. Okay. But
currently, I'm being eaten alive on the internet because I was asked, would I date a man that makes $70,000? What do you think, my answer?
I was like, really?
Now tell me why that's bad.
I don't think it's bad.
Why is it judged so harshly?
Because a lot of people fall into that price range.
What does that have to do with me?
Because immediately people go into, oh, you're talking about me.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why they're like, oh, this is 7/3.
Right.
And you have the people that have been gold dug on.
Okay.
She just after the money, man. And so you got that coming at you. Mm-hmm. But everybody, I'm team preference. I'm like, you like what you like. Because a lot of times we don't have any control over what. Let's say you meet a man.
Ooh.
Everything is on point.
Oh, spicy.
With that salary. He's 70,000, but everything about him.
Is he committed to the 70,000, or is that just right now?
No, it's just right now. He's open
that's different.
He's open to, he's trying to do different things within his business. The 70,000 is not the end all be all.
Okay, well that's completely different.
Yeah.
And is it potential in action? Like, is he in action or is he just talking?
He's moving and shaking. He's moving and shaking.
Completely different story.
But he's 70 grand in, and he might be 78.
Okay.
But he's still moving and shaking.
There's no way a man's gonna come around me and stay at 70 grand for 3-4 years. That's not even realistic.
Would you help him?
I would help him. Yeah. That was a different question, though.
Yeah, there's a chance.
If you're committed to 70,000, I don't fit in that vision for life. But if you're growing your business and you just don't know, or you need the right relationships, or you need to be in different rooms, I know my role.
What if a school teacher that's passionate about what he does, that's not necessarily a career where you could just be like, yo, I'm shooting for that 90,000. He just...
Now, this is the thing. A lot of people ain't gonna necessarily catch it right away, but of course she lying. Okay, but I do want y'all to understand she ain't got no standards either, because she said, I don't want a guy who makes 70,000. But then she started trying to give a lot of things to say, okay, well, if he's doing this and he's doing that, then I'll take the 70,000. Not that I believe for a second that she really want a guy that'll take 70,000, but she will take a guy that has less than 70,000 because she ain't got no standards. Yeah. She's just talking like she do. She 37 years old, according to Mrs. Z. I don't know who she is, you know what I'm saying, but she has access to do interviews with celebrities and whatnot. Now, I don't know if y'all know who Tony Baker is, a hilarious guy from Chicago. I'm pretty sure he's making a significant income. I didn't see him, all over social media doing his thing. Hilarious brother. Okay. He's a comedian. You're not with him, so you don't seem too bright to me. Now, they told me she done interviewed Shaq already. So you've been around men with money. You're 37 years old, yet you don't have no husband. You just not that bright. But that's all I can say on that one. She's just not that bright. You know what I'm saying? How can she be smart about it?
That's the
about
trick,
anything if she's 37? And I'm granting her, even though she had a lot of makeup on. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure it was a woman though. I don't like the women with too much makeup on because there's too many dudes there. But I'm pretty sure that was a woman. You're not fat. You're not ugly. I'm assuming she don't have no kids, yet she not married. She's an idiot. That's the only thing I can come to. And even with her talking about what the man is doing, if the man can't get beyond 70,000, just to use the number that they're saying, if the man can't get beyond 70,000 on his own, she don't want him. Now, I'm not telling she won't take a man that's making less than 70,000. Y'all think she a virgin?
Yeah, well,
you got to be realistic about stuff. Y'all really think she a virgin?
Especially being in the entertainment game and at that level, No, somebody's
If she
touching that.
37, I'm pretty sure she's been in a few games by this time.
She's been, she's been touched a number of times. And my thing is she attempted to float the goalpost many different ways, directly, indirectly. She wanted to move that goalpost instead of staying on the point of whether she would accept the man who's making 70. And not that, I mean, and I use that word accept cautiously, let's say, for a lack of words, because the money shouldn't even matter, really. It shouldn't even matter. Either you got a man or you don't. That man is productive. And I spoke about Joan Collins.
Hold on. Before you go into Joan Collins, let me say this. Yes. Shout out to Kevin 3905. He said it doesn't matter what a woman does and who she's around. Well, I'm going to say, I get the context you're saying it in, but I'm going to say it does matter, because if she around Tony Baker right now and she's interviewed Shaq, that tells me the men with the type of money she don't want her.
Right.
She's 37. And I'm closer to the man who makes 70,000 than her.
Yeah.
Because I said this last night on Mr. Z show. Let's be realistic. She pretty. I ain't gonna say she not. But if I took her home to meet my parents, hey mom, I don't know her name, but this such and such. Okay. I'm gonna call her Sue. Okay. Hey mom, this Sue. Hey dad, this Sue. Hey brothers, this Sue. Hey sisters, this Sue. Hey cousins, this Sue. What y'all think my family gonna start thinking in their mind? Whether they just come out immediately and say it, or wait till they get behind her back? Y'all think they ain't gonna be wondering why she quote unquote pretty, 37, and ain't got no husband? Y'all think they ain't gonna? It's gonna be far too much for me to explain. I can't defend this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she kind of stupid. She kind of slow. That's why she on the market. That's all I can really say. I have to accept the fact that she a little slow. And hopefully it ain't gonna affect my kids too much. That she just a little slow. Because if she wasn't slow, she'd be off the market right now.
Well, I was going to say that Joan Collins is 92 years old. Okay. And Joan Collins is on her 5th husband, and her last husband, or the current husband, is 60. Now, when you look at Joan Collins,
but you know what? Let me say this real quick. My bad. I want to make sure I get this out, because I've been meaning to say it for a while. Shout out to my main man, struggling brother, y'all. He came through on the Cash App. Okay, appreciate that, my brother. Before the show even started, he hit me with $5 actually yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Early in the morning. So shout out to struggling brother. Appreciate that. Okay, go ahead, my brother. Sorry.
Okay. So I was saying Joan Collins is 92 years old and on her 5th husband. Her current husband is 60. All right. Now, here's a 92-year-old woman who's perceivably not big and sloppy, and I guess she knows what she's doing. She's on her 5th husband. Now, she's 92 and seemingly has herself together, and we know she has money. Okay, so it ain't a question about money. I would have to say these bros out here now have to learn something. Look for examples of something, because here's a 92-year-old woman who's out here still living life and carrying herself a certain way. Now I know she's from a different era, but she's seen a lot. I'm just using her as an example because that's what females do. They like to look at each other for examples and things and live life. But here we are, where this one is saying, "No, 70,000. No, is he doing this? Is he doing that?" It sounds like, what's that? That one person, Roger, that was refused the man who drives the bus. remember her? I can't remember.
I know you're talking about.
I can't remember his name, but
she's just another loser at the end of the day. But
yeah.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, it was like listening to her. As I listened to this this female talk about the $70,000 man. Ebony K. Williams. Yeah, she sounded like Ebony K. Williams. I mean, so what? The man might like just being a teacher, like the example was given, and that's his life, that's his enjoyment, that's his fulfillment. But she's saying, well, hold on, if he don't aspire to be greater than that, now I can't be with him. Well, hence the loser conversation. I can appreciate that, Roger. You know, you putting that out there.
She 37.
37. Hey, 37. She losing.
You're an official loser at 30.
You know, I like to say failure, Roger. Failure.
I mean, that's cool, but my thing is, at 30 years old, I can't even discuss whether you are or are not. You clearly are once you make 30, because that's 12 years on the market and no husband. Now, I understand you can't just marry your high school sweetheart if your parents don't let you. I get all that. But you've been on the market for 12 years,
right?
At 30 years old, when you can do what you want to do.
Right.
So, no, ain't no discussion about it. Now, I did just look up Joan Collins just to see who it was, because I was like, that name sounds familiar. But, you know, and I definitely... I think she was an actress. I was gonna say that because she reminded me of actress
on that show. She was
Dynasty, an author, a columnist, a producer. She done did a few things. Got Golden Globes and all kinds of stuff.
She played in Dynasty, and which was a long-standing show.
Well, I do know it's a lot of black people watching Dynasty when I was a youngster. I do know that.
Yes, sir.
I do know that.
Yes, sir.
I ain't watch it, but I know it was the talk of the town to a certain degree.
Right.
I'm gonna say shout out to Black Who Strikes. He said Joan Collins has more game in a clipped toenail than 99% of these bras will ever have in their entire life.
Right. Shout out to Black Guru, man. Shout out to Black Guru.
And I know she was a look in her day too. I know she was a look in her day too. But we got Ken 3905 who done joined us. So let him get the mic. How you doing, Kevin?
What's happening, fellas? Hey, man, I wanted to clarify my point and add a couple of things. A woman's first job is to be a wife, which is she's supposed to learn that at home. Her second job is to be a mother. After 30 years old, if you have not accomplished those two things, you're a failure. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care who you spend time around. I don't care who you're hobnobbing with. A woman 30 plus years old, that's not a wife, not a mother, is a failure. We need to stop pussyfooting around this. They are failures. They out here lying. They trying to gaslight these brothers into buying used up goods. Man, these women are utter failures. It doesn't matter how pretty she is or none of that, man. It just doesn't matter. Bro, I'm a regular guy. I make decent money, but I'm a regular guy. I'm 46 years old. I'm telling you right now, it's been since 2014 that I paid for a woman on a date. And I've been on a lot of dates, and I done laid up with a lot of women. They lying. They lying.
Right.
Hey.
I can wholeheartedly agree. What you there about them lying? Because they can't get past lying about lunch. Right. So Lord knows they lying about this.
Right. No, they got to drag. They dragging people directly and indirectly, man. When it comes to running that mouth, man, they dragging.
And the percent.
But I'm saying our issue with men is that we don't understand. Look, we're the husband.
Right.
She is the wife if she can qualify. Right. And we do stuff very backwards because we do have this idea that we're supposed to compete for some woman. I'm supposed to have a better car than that guy so I can get the woman. I'm supposed to have a nicer place to live than that guy so I can get the woman. I'm supposed to wear nicer looking clothes than this guy so I can get the woman. We've been doing stuff backwards for a long time.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Black men going to have to break that. You are the husband. She is supposed to be good enough to be your wife. And the reason a lot of us did get married, you know what I'm saying? Because I do think a lot of men bought into the nonsense I bought into. and I just had to marry a black woman, and that's where I screwed up. I should have just gave anybody else a real opportunity. I ain't gonna say I ain't never been with nobody else, but I should have gave them a real opportunity.
Hold on, Roger. You know, I hear you say that, and I just question. You know, you say you should have. Why you still can't?
No, it's not that I can't. It's about do I want to or not.
Okay,
that's all it is. It would. I've said before, it would take an extremely special woman at this point because I don't need them.
But do you want to, Roger?
I understand what Roger's saying. Roger's saying he wasted his time.
Yeah,
he wasted his time on the wrong type of thinking, man. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be gone because I got to get back to work.
Yeah, I got to get ready to go too.
These women want traditional husbands. Fine, let's be traditional. We want traditional wives. If you ain't a virgin, you ain't getting no ring, no hymen, no diamond.
Well, hold on, Kev. Hold on, Kev. We're in 2025, brother. Do you really believe that there are traditional women today?
I'm getting ready to get married in the next 6 months, and the woman I met was a virgin.
Okay, I mean, but
is she from America?
Yeah, I mean, we're in 2025, right?
No, she ain't.
That's what I figured. That's what I figured. No, it can happen, Go Pete. The unfortunate thing is that most girls ain't gonna make it out of high school with their virginity. That's just the reality.
I did meet her here in America, and she grew up in New Orleans. It's possible.
Well,
man,
it's possible.
Man, we got to hold a standard. We got to stop rewarding women for being hoes.
How?
Well, the thing is, we supposed to look at them in a whole different category, which a lot of men haven't really figured out yet. But I'm gonna say congratulations to you for meeting up with her. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it's supposed to be. He meet her, he had first dibs. If I meet her, I'm supposed to leave her alone because, well, you know, I'm with some other man, blah blah blah. Happens to be Kev. I ain't supposed to be even bothering with that because if she will come to me while being with him, that's an automatic red flag. That's an actual problem. I'm not even supposed to have interest in a woman like that. And you know,
100%.
And as men, we do too much because we be trying to take hoes out on dates. Like if you see her as a hoe, what's the date about? Why are you doing it? You know, that would be my question.
Yeah, but
every time I see a woman as a hoe, I ain't taking her on no date. The date is for women with potential to be a wife. That's it.
Yeah.
If I can't see potential to be a wife, why are we going out on a date? I just don't get it. It don't even make sense to me. It never has. I'm sure it never will.
Kev, how did you meet her?
Yes, sir.
Now you go up and you can't have his woman now.
Hey, look, I'm just asking the question. How did he meet her?
No,
I mean,
look, listen. I met her at work. She's in her early 30s, and I met her as naturally as we normally met women back in the day. I don't do the online thing. I don't do the online dating. I ain't going to no christianmingle.com. I'm not doing none of that. I have my standards. My standards are precise.
Okay.
I've been saying this for a long time. I ain't marrying another woman that ain't a virgin. I ain't doing it.
But how do you know she's a virgin?
Because I took her virginity.
But how do you know that?
Her hymen was in place, and there was a lot of blood.
Okay.
I did it. That's how I know.
Okay. Hey, look, you know, I can't say I never had one, but
this would be my third virgin in my adult years. It's possible to find. You got to raise your standards, bro.
Yes, sir.
You got to raise your standards. The problem we're having is exactly what Roger is saying. Our standards are so as.
Hey, you went out. Yeah. Is that me?
Yeah, he must have lost connection for
I did.
He'll probably be right back.
I did. I'm back.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
I was saying our standards are so low as black men, we just accept anything. These big, fat, out of shape chicks that's calling themselves thick, bad attitudes and all this. No, bro. You got to set your standard and you got to stand on and say, hey, I'm not going to get married till I find this. Now, I've dated some women that were nice, But I had to be honest with him and say, hey, I'm never going to marry you. We can date, we can have a good time, but I'm looking for a wife and you're not it. I have told several women that. You know what they do? They spend a bunch of time trying to prove that they are. When you set your standards, you're going to find out they've been lying the whole time.
But yeah, let me ask you.
Yes, sir.
She didn't tell you she was a reborn virgin?
No. I ain't going for that.
I'm just asking the questions, man.
That man said, I want a virgin, and that's it. And that's what he say. That's what he say. It is what it is.
Hey, look, I am not trying to take his woman. Not that I could. I'm not disputing what his position is, nor what he's found. I'm just asking the question because many of us out here are saying, how he do that? That's amazing.
It's you got to go through an effort. It's like I said about finding a guy with no legs. Right. You got to put some work in to do that.
Yeah.
Not easy, but anything worth having ain't gonna be easy to find.
Yes, sir. I mean, hey, you know, I congratulate you, brother. Hey, I don't congratulate. I don't hate. I congratulate, brother. And
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
And I wouldn't lie. If I met a virgin, would I consider marrying her? Yeah, of course, because she's a special woman. She's a virgin, and so of course I would give her some consideration. There ain't nowhere in the world I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm not gonna marry just anything, especially with the fact that why do men get married? We get married to have families. So, you know, that's what I was saying. Even a woman in this example, she's 37 years old. What we finna go have a family together? Like she and I'm just saying that because you know the type of man she supposedly is around. I'm much closer to the $70,000 guy than them. What would I do with you? We not finna get married and have a bunch of kids. So what would be the purpose? Now she thinking like, well, you know, I'm this and I'm that, and I can help a man. You just basically said enough information right in that small clip for me to know you're not gonna help a man. You're looking for a man who can do it without your help. So you're not gonna help. You know?
Hey, Kel.
Which means what? I get married to you and you still not gonna help me. Because you're gonna keep up the same behavior you had before we got married.
That's right.
Hey, Kel.
Yes, sir.
Is this your first marriage?
This will be my third.
Yeah, he said this wasn't his first, brother.
Okay, I didn't catch that. You know, I'm
listen.
Why I can't ask?
I screwed it. I screwed the poocher the first couple of times because I didn't know what to be looking for. I was what they would call quote unquote blue pilled. I believed in all the things they taught us to believe about women. That they were sugar and spice and everything nice and all this other kinds of stuff, man. Yeah. And I had to come to a reality. I had to do some work on myself and get myself where I needed to be. I had to become the husband that I want to be.
But you was already
qualified for the
right. According to Roger, we're already husbands off top. So how do you mean that?
Well, I had to do no. Listen, I qualified to be a whole bunch of women's husband.
Okay.
Whole bunch of women, right? But I'm looking for something. I'm looking for something specific. I mean, her being a virgin was just like the first thing I'm looking for. There's other things that she needs, but at the same time, she needs to be fit, feminine, submissive. Okay. She needs to be able to cooperate with me. She needs to be willing to get on my plan.
Okay.
And she need to be willing to follow me in the direction that I'm going. And she needs to be God fearing. I ain't talking about this fake God fearing thing. I'm talking about really believing in Christ and following Christ.
And she's out in New Orleans.
Yeah.
What, you trying to say something about New Orleans?
Wait. Look, why am I catching the work when I'm just asking the questions?
I'm just saying he can't find the New Orleans.
Look. I'm just saying. I'm just asking the questions, Roger. Can I ask you questions, brother? Can I do that?
Okay. I'm just saying, bro. Yo, shout out to everybody in New Orleans out there,
we know
man.
about
Shout out to everybody in New
Chicago.
Orleans.
We talk about New Orleans.
It could be a virgin here. It could be a virgin here too. Just because I don't know who she is, don't mean she don't exist. I don't know every single woman in Chicago.
We know about Chicago, Roger.
I'm
Let me
just
stick
saying,
to
bro.
New Orleans.
A virgin could be any particular location. You know, they just hard to find, but they could be anywhere.
Why I can't ask Kev these questions, brother?
I just don't understand why you had to, halfway take a dump on New Orleans like that. I just didn't get
Roger, why I can't talk about New Orleans? And I just said New Orleans.
You just said it like she couldn't be from New Orleans. Like, no, not there.
Get him straight, P. You always be the one that got to keep him on the straight and narrow.
I just asked the question. I just asked New Orleans. There might be a flock of them there in New Orleans, but Roger wanted to stick on Chicago, which there ain't none there.
I didn't even bring up Chicago.
But you do.
And how you know they wanted to? It could be one. It could be one here.
No, yeah, one out of 50.
No, you just honest to God, man. You just got to set the standard for what you want. You got to set the standard for what you want. You got to stick to your guns. You can't play around with it. You just got to be like, nah, I'm not taking on anything.
Hey, Kev, you about to get me and Roger in trouble, brother. Chef already.
Chef put up the warning. He put up the warning. Okay, Chef, we good.
Yes,
we
sir,
good.
Chef.
Yes,
sir.
It's over with. It's over.
See how do Roger? That's you, Roger. That's you.
But brothers, I'm gonna get back to work. Man, I love you brothers, man. I love what you brothers are doing. I love what it is that you're adding to the community, man, so that these younger brothers can learn. And even brothers like myself can continue to learn, man.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate what it is that you guys doing. I'm always entertained, and it's always my pleasure to come up and talk with you guys for a few minutes. But
yes,
I'm gonna get back to work unless Mr. P, you got any more questions for me?
Hey, I'm gonna just say congratulations on your wedding, upcoming wedding, and
thank you, brother.
Shout out to New Orleans, man. You know, brothers, if you might go and find one down there, good deal, man.
All right, yeah, congratulations, and let us know once you made it official. Let us know, so we can celebrate another man.
I definitely will, brothers. Thank you very
Shout
much.
Out to
God bless you.
Shout out to you, kid.
All right, take care. God bless you too. Yeah, and y'all, it can't happen even in New Orleans. Okay, unlike what some people think, it can't happen even in New Orleans. That if you get on a path and you want to find a virgin, because I've heard a few men mention that if you want to find a virgin, it's just gonna take a little extra effort. That's all. If you really want one, you can get it. Just take a little extra effort, or apply some pressure. Okay, But the thing is, if we have to look at how we see ourselves. And just like he said, yeah, he was already qualified to be a husband, but just because you're qualified to be a husband don't mean you can't improve yourself. That's the whole thing, y'all. As men, you can't improve yourself to be with some particular woman. If she like you, she like you. That's them not having standards kill everything about why you need to be this and why you need to be that. Because when she like you, she like you. They ain't got none. It's just not something that goes on. Even the woman in this clip, she say, yeah, he got to make 70,000. But when Tony Baker gave her an example, then she was trying to figure out how to make the example work for her. Because he said what? Everything else is right up your alley, but he makes 70,000. Well, everything right up my alley, I don't have no real standard of 70,000 because I like him. So now how do I make your example work for me? So I can still get the guy that you just said is right up my alley because she's not turning him down. You see, at first, before she was thinking about the guy where everything was right up her alley, it was, I'm turning down the guy who makes 70,000 and that's it. Now, when he say, no, he right up your alley, no, that 70,000 just something I was talking about. I didn't actually mean it. Of course I'm going to take him. Then it was, yeah, I help him get to this and I help him get to that. No, you ain't going to help him because if you was willing to help, hey, man, he wouldn't have to be at 70,000 in the first place.
Right. It wouldn't even be a conversation. Right. Well, hey, Roger, I got to push out, brother. I appreciate you blessing me with the opportunity to come up here and speak once again. I'm thankful of you as well as the chat, man. Hey, you guys, you brothers, you keep winning, man. Keep winning. All right, Roger. Kobe.
All right. Yeah, I was just glad that you came aboard, and
you can still say it, Roger. You can still
and all
say
that
it,
type
Roger.
of stuff. I was just going to be very
You
complimentary.
should still
I
do
swear
it.
I was just about to be
No,
very
just do it,
complimentary.
Roger. Just do it,
Yeah,
Roger.
but you know what? We appreciate you, Gold Pete. We appreciate you. You know, keep doing your thing. I'm gonna continue to support you. At the end of the day, I appreciate your support of me. Even if you're a Kobe lover, it's cool. It's cool because you know what? Kobe was the closest thing to Mike, so it's cool, man.
You see how you did
it's
that,
cool.
Roger?
What?
You just can't walk away, Roger. You just can't walk away, can you?
I don't know what you mean because I said even if you're a Kobe lover,
you see what I'm saying?
You still cool.
See, you could have easily said, "Hey, Gold P, I appreciate you. Hey, man, have a great day." No, you said,
"Gold P, I appreciate you, man. Have a great day."
Bye, guy.
Okay.
Peace. I'm gone.
Be easy. I'm up here like Jordan though.
Oh, see, you thought I was getting ready to go. No, you see how you did? Yeah. Bye, Roger.
You said Kobe,
bye,
man.
Roger.
I thought you was done.
Bye, Roger.
See you later, Gold P. Shout out to Devin, our brother. He says it's even more perverse. Black women are having kids and sleeping with the guys that they don't like, don't respect, and don't see themselves beyond the act itself. Now, that is a very, very, very real thing amongst what Black women are doing. You know, it is getting really perverse out there at the end of the day. We good, Chef Mike. We cool. We cool. Don't do a sin. Don't do a sin, Chef Mike. Don't do a sin, man. We being cool, man. We was just saying we was bidding each other adieu. That's all. But back to Debonair brother. Okay, back to Debonair brother. I mean, he said it's even more perverse. Black women are having kids and sleeping with the guys they don't like, don't respect, don't see themselves with beyond the act itself. And that's how you know that Black women are having this issue about being a wife. It is not brothers' jobs to accept nonsense from them about how you're not a husband. Okay, because that's what a lot of us we're dealing with. You know, there's nothing wrong with self-improvement. Everybody should be looking to be better. But you got to do that for yourself at the end of the day. When you dedicate being better as a man for some woman, the only thing you're really positioning yourself to do is have a woman take more advantage of you. If she like you, she like you. It's that simple at the end of the day. Even in this hypothetical situation, you had a beautiful woman, because I'm going to give her the fact that she's beautiful. She just old. You know what I'm saying? Because she's 37. She beautiful. But the man say, well, what if he right up your alley with everything else but that money? She said, everything I just said, throw it out the window. Everything I just said, throw that out the window. So it's not a standard. A standard is something you either have to do or you don't. When you go to an amusement park, they say you got to be at least 48 inches to ride this ride. They don't let you on when you're 46 inches because you're not 48. You could be 47 inches. You're not 48 inches. They don't let you on. That's what a standard is. A standard is something that don't change with the blowing of the wind. Okay? Women don't have standards because they change whatever their standards are supposed to be with the blowing of the wind. Well, yeah, see, that's my standard if the wind blowing east. But see, when the wind blowing west, I got a different standard. Now, if the wind happen to blow north, my standard gonna change a little bit different than those other two standards. That's what women do all the time. So all this, you need to improve yourself so you can have a woman. Tell that to the crackhead. Because he didn't improve himself at all, and he still got one. And you know, people gonna say, well, don't just any woman ain't gonna get with no crackhead. Well, tell that to the judge then. Because I see judges getting caught up with men that ain't doing nothing with their lives. I literally see them being involved with men doing criminal activity. Heck, you got women that are correctional officers going to prison to work, and she's having sex with the guys. She's literally having sex with prisoners. Okay? I remember a story I did about one young lady. She's gonna end up in prison. Well, at this point, she might be in prison already, but she was literally gonna end up in prison at the time I did the story because she got caught up having sex with one of the inmates and got pregnant by the inmate. Now she's so slow, she got pregnant by an inmate and wasn't even smart enough to go get, well, I'm gonna just say go to the chop shop. Okay? She wasn't even smart enough to go to the chop shop. She gonna have a baby by an inmate. Well, you know, once you had a baby, they gonna be able to guarantee that you had sex with the inmate. The baby is gonna tell on you. As soon as they get that paternity test done, you through. That's why I say she probably serving time at this point. Now, how you gonna go have sex with the inmate because you work in the prison? You gonna get pregnant by him, keep the baby, and think you not gonna get caught? This is crazy. Okay? This is crazy. All right? Let me see what Deb and that brother saying again right here. He said, I think black women have a very consistent and coherent standard. The standard is almost invariably consistent. The through line is black women want a brother with resources if he is compromised or just a pookie. That's a wide range, Devin. That's all I can say. That's a wide range. They want a brother with resources if he's compromised or just a pookie. Well, I'm gonna say they very much prefer that. I can definitely say that they very much prefer that. But the reason I say they don't have standards because they talk all day long about how they got standards about this and how they get standards about that, and you see wholeheartedly that they just don't. Okay, you even see the women who got kids talking about, well, I don't want a man with kids. The guy you was with gave you 4 of them. You know? So it's a lot of crazy talk that goes on. But the only way to beat the situation is black men have to accept that, hey, I have standards. She doesn't have standards. Now, the thing is, do you like a woman enough? You got to have an understanding she really ain't got no standards, and you got to play yourself accordingly. Now, if you can find a woman with some standards, more power to you. That's all I'm going to say. More power to you. Because I do believe it's a few of them out there, because there are some men who are actually in relationships where they got married to a woman and the woman been treating them great ever since. That's how I know they do exist. They out there somewhere. They do exist. You finding one is a whole different thing, but they do exist. You know? Now, can you find one in America? Well, we just had somebody give an example of one that didn't quite come from America. But I would even say that I do believe you can find one in America. I just think it's just going to be a task that you really, 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 you know, you got to take that extremely serious if you're going to find one that's from this country. Okay? I wouldn't worry about working that hard to find one that comes from this country. If you happen to find her here, she here, so just make it work. All right. Oh, excuse me. Had to yawn. Shout out to Debonair brother. He says, you need to write a book, Roger. Hot Sauce has a gift for academics. I have an obvious natural aptitude for logic. You have an extreme and obviously insightful mind. Dig your show, but bruh, you got something. Hey, appreciate that, Debonair brother. I appreciate that big time, my brother. Real talk. I definitely appreciate it. Man, I try to do what I can. I try to do what I can. Okay. But I definitely do believe that if black men could actually start seeing themselves as, hey, look, we're a bunch of husbands over here. All right. We want some wives, but we can't necessarily find them amongst women of our group. Now, I'm not going to say a brother has to go outside the group, but we got to ask ourselves real questions. If we do go outside the group, what is it going to actually damage? Because a community is built on men. Unfortunately, a lot of us, we think a community is built on the man and the woman. The women do not make the community. The women just simply participate in the community. Because anytime a group of men have been conquered, the women immediately decide they're going to work with the group of conquering men. The men who just conquered somebody, they're going to take the women of the group that got conquered. And the women are cool with it. That's how it is for the most part. Now, if there's some woman out there who's going to say, no, I'm going to die with my husband, sure, I'm not saying they don't exist. Sure, you're going to have some women who going to stick with the group that just perished. She might take her own life because she want to rock out with the group that just perished. But that, for the most part, that's just not going to be the case. For the most part, if you won and you conquered somebody, the women are coming to your group. It just is what it is. Okay? Now, that's not men competing for women. That's men competing for resources. The women is just a thing that come with it. When you conquer a land, you want land for its resources. Men don't conquer other men over women. They conquer other lands because they want to control the land and what the land produces. That's the way it always been. Probably the way it'll always be. Now, as long as we got time itself ticking, it's probably going to be the way it's always going to be. So the thing is, we as black men especially, we get confused about this whole husband thing because we think we're supposed to, hey, make 6 figures so I can get a wife. Now, less than 10% of the country, or maybe about 10%, I ain't looked it up in a while, make 6 figures. So if you dumb enough to say, well, the reason you need to get yourself together because you don't make 6 figures yet, well, you're an idiot. Because that's not a real thing. Most of the country just don't make that type of money. And you know, it's going to be a long time before most of the country makes 6 figures. And by the time most of the country makes 6 figures is not going to be the 6 figures like it is right now. Now, matter of fact, while we on air, let me say this. If you haven't liked this video yet, hit that like button. And if you like this type of content, and you like the wisdom that goes on over here, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Okay, let's get that out the way right now, y'all. Let's make sure we all done hit that like button so far. I totally get how you can come into the conversation and forget that, hit that like button because it's a dope conversation. I do get that. You can get enthralled with what's going on. But hey, take a moment out, you know, hit that like button real quick because y'all know it matters at the end of the day. Okay, and like button being hit, comments being made, you know, the views and whatever y'all get financially is all different types of help to the channel. All of it is different types of support to the channel, and I do appreciate all of it. So make sure y'all hit that like button. Real talk. Make sure you hit the like button. All right. All right. Now, this is the thing. As men, it is okay for women to compete for us. If I'm willing to take a woman on a date, and I have to be willing because I'm only looking to take a woman out on a date if I think she's good enough for me to marry. I mean, she has to have the look automatically. Okay, that's automatic. She got to be beautiful enough for me to actually marry. Now, as far as what she acts like, now you only know what you know when you meet her. You talk to her a little bit on the phone, hopefully, before you go anywhere with her. And you have to consider her as somebody you willing to take home to meet your mama, meet your daddy, meet your brothers, meet your sisters, your aunties, your uncles, your grandma, your granddad, whatever it is. If you don't look at her like she could be this type of woman, she shouldn't have been on a date in the first place. That's just real talk. Okay, you can't take out women. Also, I'm finna take her out so I can get some pussy, and then say, well, the dating scene is messed up. Women who expect to get nothing from a guy but some sex should understand what's going on when you're not inviting them out. And I get it. There's been women who made videos talking about, well, these men, they ain't trying to invite nobody out. They just talking about come over to my house or can I come over to your house? You know what, y'all? Those ladies should feel some type of way. Let me tell you how they should feel some type of way. Because that should be a signal to them that the guy that they were talking to don't want a relationship with them. That's what it should be. It shouldn't just be them being pissed off. It should be a clear signal that he don't like me like that. And it would become a clear signal if guys start, from at least in general, being unwilling to go on a date with a woman that you don't see as a potential wife. The date market is something men are supposed to control. You know, a lot of us be so worried about what the women want. Well, the women want to go here and the women want to go there. Why do you care where she want to go? Is she paying? Tell her we'll go when you pay. Since I'm paying, we going to where I want to go to. I don't understand why that's so difficult. You know, black men, we got to stop being nervous about this stuff. You're going to go where I want to go. You know, I've told people who've listened to me in the past, y'all done heard me. The only thing I'm guaranteeing on the date is that I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to go somewhere that's going to be fun for me. I'm going to have me a good experience because I like what I'm going to. And I'm hopefully trying to share that joy with the woman who comes with me. Now, let's say I do something she don't like it at all. What's the problem? It's just telling me early on that we're not compatible. Now, we could try one or two more times, but if she don't like what I pick, and generally she's going to like what you pick if she's into you. A lot of people don't get that. She will generally like whatever you pick as long as she's into you. Now, if she's not into you, she'll let you know that she don't like what you wanted to do. Okay? Now, let's say she did like you, but she really didn't like whatever you went on that date. Whatever that experience was, she really didn't like that. She would still be like, well, yo, I hated that thing. Let's say, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to give a more extreme example. Let's say y'all went out on a zip line on the first date, okay? And she was terrified. Okay, it was just totally terrible for her. It was a zip line, but she didn't like it at all. It was just too scary for her. Well, what's she gonna do? She gonna say, I hate zip lining, but I can't wait to go out with you again. That means she like you. Now, if she just say, I hate this zip lining and I hate you, well, she wasn't in you in the first place. Now, you ain't got to do something that expensive or that extreme for a first date, of course. But it doesn't make a difference what the activity is. That's how the results are going to come out. But unfortunately, a lot of black men, we are too afraid to see what results we're going to have if we actually go do what we want to do. You know, men nowadays are trained into asking a woman what she want to do. Why are you doing that? Stop it. Tell your son to stop it. Stop asking her what she wants to do. Okay? If she wanted to tell me what she liked doing, that could be earned when we're out doing something I like doing. When we're doing something I like doing, she can tell me how she likes to do X, Y, and Z. And that's fine. That don't mean our next date gonna be that thing. No. Because the next date I'm still doing something I like doing. We will do something she likes a while after the fact. She's already my woman at that particular point, and maybe we'll do something she like, unless she throw, hey, next day I'm gonna pay for it, and we're gonna go to such and such. Now, if she do that, it's all good. I ain't even tripping. A woman ain't trying to take you out unless she like you. Okay, women don't like to take those type of risks. Okay, so if she really wanted to do something, she said, well, you know what? Next time we go out, I'm gonna pay because I want to do such and such. You know, and that tells me she learned in the game. Okay. That tell me she learning the game. Because I don't ask women what they want to do. I may say that I had a great time with you. I do want to go out with you again, but I ain't gonna ask them what they want to do. That's not coming out of my mouth. You know, because the only thing that matters to me is, are you good enough for me to take on? I'm not trying to find out if I'm good enough for her to take on. That goes without saying. Because at the end of the day, the women don't want to pay for you as a man. Okay? Even that clip with the pretty woman in the video, who supposedly is 37 years old, according to Mrs. Z, she don't want to take care of no man. She made it real clear right in that small clip. 2 minutes of talking with the brother, and she made it clear, I am not trying to take care of no man. And my thing is, okay, cool, women can be that way if they want to be that way. But you're not making no decisions on where we going out, because I'm paying for it. Just is what it is. I'm trying to see if you're interested in my life. Do you want to be a part of the life I have? I'm not looking to be a part of her life. I'm looking for her to be a part of my life. Y'all, that's two different things. Being a part of a woman's life is not the same as a woman being a part of your life. Okay? Shout out to QM. He says, why not find out a woman's interests and likes through conversation before a date and go somewhere that she would appreciate? My mate hates seafood and I love it. We go to a seafood restaurant. We go to seafood restaurants a lot. QM, why would I date a woman and ask her what she like doing if she ain't my woman? The whole reason you don't ask is because you first need to know, does she like you in the first place? Is she with you to go on a date with you, or is she with you so she can go to the place she want to go? So no, I'm not gonna ask her interest. If she want to go somewhere she likes, she needs to offer to pay for that date. There's no reason for me to ask. I'm asking her if she wants to be a part of my world. Okay, that's what I'm giving her a chance to do. Be a part of my world. I'm not trying to be a part of her world. I'm trying to allow her to be a part of my world. Okay, so no, I don't need to find out her interests. I need to find out, is she interested in the things I'm interested in? It's a huge difference there, brother. A huge difference. If she want me to know about her interests, she should try to take me somewhere. She can tell me all about her interests. If she meet me and say, man, you so handsome, I just don't know what to do, I got to take you out. Okay? So why don't you come go with me? I'm going to take you to this place I like to go, and I'm going to tell you all about me while we there. That's how you do that. Okay? Shout out to Sarah B. She says, seriously, it's not like we're going to make up our mind anyway. Just put me in the passenger seat. Now, shout out to Sarah B. See, she's talking from the context of a woman who likes the man. If you like the man, you're going. Okay? If the woman can see you as a leader, why can't she just go with you? All right? I am not saying it ain't nice to do something your woman like doing, but she needs to be your woman first. If I just met her, she's not my woman. Okay? She needs to be my woman before we do anything she likes to do. And she needs to spend some decent amount of time with me before I consider doing something before I consider doing something that she wants to do. Because again, I'm trying to see if she wants to be a part of my world. See, these are real world things that people got to take into consideration. Now, QM, I'm not saying you're saying something bad or whatever, or you trying to be mad or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, for me to consider a woman, especially if you're talking about somebody becoming a wife, she has to accept the world that you live in. Women who do not accept the world that you live in, they just gonna ditch you at some point in time anyway. Now it might be another man that came around and she believes he don't necessarily have to have it, but she believes that he can put her in better position than you can based on what she actually likes. That's possible. Not saying he can, long as she believes he can, it can cause a problem. I'm not looking for the woman who doesn't like me. I only want to marry a woman that's into me. All right. If she's with me because she likes the places I go, that ain't gonna work. Especially if I'm always trying to go somewhere she wants to go, because now all I get to do is hang out with her and do the stuff that she has fun doing. That's not gonna work in a marriage. Marriages only work when the woman accepts the things the men like. Let's think about this seriously, y'all. How many times have men got married to a woman, but they're literally always trying to do some stuff that she like doing? Now, men will quote unquote suffer in silence. Why? Because you're paying for the stuff. You're doing all this stuff that you don't like doing. You have to take on all the responsibility that come along with being a wife, and it's not fulfilling in any kind of shape, way, or form to you. So you suffer in silence. Now, in the reverse order, if the woman likes you, she gets something out of spending time with you in general. That means something to a woman. Just that simple spending of time means a lot to her. Women will watch their man do something they have no interest in, and they will cheer him on. Yes, there are even guys who play video games. They woman will sit there beside that man and just watch him beat the game and cheer him on. And if he don't win so much, she will encourage him to do better. And she'll say, don't worry, baby, you'll get it soon. You know, a little more practice, you're going to be able to compete with the rest of them. That's what a woman does. She don't necessarily got to like it. She liked the fact that she get to spend the time with you. Now, I'm not saying you never find out anything about what your woman likes. Of course, if she's your woman, you should be interested in her, which is also going to mean you'll take some interest in some of the things that she like doing. And of course, you should treat her every once in a while to something she actually likes doing. But you hear that? Treat her every once in a while. Until you are really seen as my woman, I ain't worried about what you're talking about. Because again, I have to get up to the point that I might be willing to die for you, depending upon the situation. I can't even say might. I have to be willing to die for you, depending upon what the situation is. So therefore, if she ain't rolling with me, I don't care what she rolling. But see, men, we got to think of ourselves this way. Do you get a woman who's truly down and committed to you? Because, see, this is the thing that men look for, and I know because I actually asked. Men are looking for some version of loyalty, good character, and good company. That's what men want. This is something that most women are not aware of because they don't care. It's that simple at the end of the day. Most women are not aware of this because they just don't care. Now, if I were you as a man, I'd start sharing this with women. Okay, but most men just don't care. Excuse me, most women don't care about men like that. So men should care enough to start telling women, look, as men, we want loyalty, good character, good company. You may want other things, but without those three, you don't want her to be no wife. She can do a whole lot of other stuff, but without that base three, her being a wife is useless. It's only going to bring in pain, destruction, and wasting a whole lot of money. That's real talk. Wasting a whole lot of money. All right. Now, as men, we are qualified to be husbands because we are leaders and we should be protecting and providing for those we lead. Which means even a crackhead can do it. Literally, y'all. Even a crackhead can do it. If the crackhead can lead his woman, and y'all done seen them crackheads leading their woman, they walking down the street, they cracked out, but they holding hands. And he taking her somewhere. I don't know if they about to go under the bridge for the night or they going to get a new bag. I don't know, but y'all see those crackhead men leading their woman to wherever they're going. You know, hey man, shout out to all the crackheads out there protecting their woman. Real talk, y'all. Shout out to all the crackheads. Now I know y'all might not hear this, but you never know what people doing nowadays. So maybe they will. You know, shout out to all the crackheads, you know, leading their woman to where she needs to go. Okay. But the thing is, don't blame the man because she a crackhead. She's a crackhead. That's why she got a crackhead man. This is something men got to really understand and accept. She's a crackhead. That's why she got a crackhead man. Why are you mad at him? Okay. A woman say, well, I'm being abused. Why are you mad at the man? She don't want to live with a man that won't hit her. Okay. When she grows up enough to the point where she don't like getting beat up by her man, she'll get rid of a man that hits her. But until she does, she's going to get rid of a man that won't hit her. That's the crazy part about life, okay? She gonna get rid of the guy who won't hit her if she needs a man that will hit her. That's why you can't help a woman who's still caught up in a situation. Don't call me about your man beating up on you until you tell me you leaving him. Because what I'm supposed to do? He beating up on you. I mean, that's what you like. What you want me to tell you? Okay? Because the truth is, I ain't got nothing to tell you. You don't need my help. You in a harsh situation that you like to involve yourself in. I can't fix that for you. Okay? I can't fix it for you. The only thing I can do, if you want me to spend some time with you and tell you how to bob and weave, maybe I could do that. Okay? But that's really it. I can't really do much for us else. I can't really do much else for you other than tell you how to bob and weave. All right? Because, you know, maybe you want the fight to last a little longer or whatever. But I know you like your situation because you locking yourself in the house with them. Okay? You don't lock yourself in there with a monster while also locking the world out of there unless you like your situation. So, yeah, I can help you with the bobbing and weaving part if that's what you want to do. Not so you can win, just if you want it to go a little bit longer than what it's doing. If you want him to dust you up in 2 minutes instead of 1 minute, maybe I'll tell you how to move. Okay. We go with some boxing footage, okay? But other than that, I can't really do much for you. Now, the thing is, women have this thing where they've been shaming men, and we fall for this stuff, y'all. Like it's a real conversation. We talk about this, that, and that. The woman be like, well, you know what? But see, what about you, though? But what about, I'm a man. My world is totally different than yours. So there is no what about me. And unfortunately, a lot of men ain't going to stand on that. There is no what about me. Okay? There's not going to be a what about me. I'm a man. My world is totally different than yours. All right? Why? Because there's no actual equality. Equality is something we fake at work, but as soon as we leave work, we got to go deal with the real world. It just is what it is. Because even work is a fake situation, y'all. At a job, they'll put in the policy, if a customer slaps you, you don't touch them back. That's not real. That's at work. Now, you know good and well if somebody slapped you and you wasn't at that job, you know good and well you slap them back. Okay? You know that good and well. Okay? All right. So the job ain't real. The job is a simulation, man. That they paying y'all to act a certain way. But you know good and well somebody slap you and you wasn't at work. You ain't gonna just let that slide. Now maybe some of y'all gonna let it slide because you at work and you like, well, I make a little too much money just to let that slap bother me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna give up this 6-figure paycheck because this dude done slapped me. It ain't even personal between us. He mad at the company. I understand that. But you know good and well if you weren't at work, it wasn't gonna go down like that. It wasn't gonna go down like that. But that's just the way things go, you know. So if black men could accept that they are husbands, I don't care what a woman says because we determine what wives are. Women don't get to determine what husbands are. We are not on the same path. We are not at the same level. We're not sitting at the same tables. We are the leaders. They'll tell you in a heartbeat long as something going wrong. Okay? Long as something going wrong, they'll tell you in a heartbeat. Well, you supposed to be the leader. Well, as a leader, I tell you what it takes to be a wife. You don't get to tell me what it takes to be a husband. Now, if some other men want to talk about what we're going to say, what a man needs to do, then that's one thing. But at the end of the day, we're not supposed to be competing for women in the first place. Because you truly cannot compete for a woman. The only thing you really can compete for is a hoe. If she accepts men competing for her, she's a hoe. Just is what it is. Ain't no getting around it. So, y'all, I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. Okay, I appreciate everybody who came up. Everybody got their words out who wanted to get their words. I hope. Now, whoever was trying to wait for me to be 2 hours and 45 minutes in this thing, I'm going to pull a stunt on you because I'm going to go and get up out of here. Because I believe I got my point across. I really, really hope I got my point across. And y'all need to stop talking to women as if men aren't husbands. That's never the case. A man is automatically a husband. The only question is the woman ever going to be good enough to be a wife? That's all it is. Don't let nobody fool you, y'all. Now, if you're new here, we do this at 9 a.m. Chicago time. I understand you may live somewhere else. Maybe you in Boston. But we do this 9 a.m. Chicago time. I will see y'all next time around. Long live the habitual line steppers. Matter of fact, before I close out, let me do one last check to see if anything else popped up on the Cash App. Let me do one last check. I appreciate y'all. Now everything's still the same. Okay, cool. Long live the habitual line stepper. Oh, no. I did get something from. Oh, looks like I got one from. Give me 1 second, y'all. Who was it? Somebody dropped something on here that I didn't say. I don't know why this thing taking so long to tell me who it was. Okay, Inspired Truth Broadcast. Shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast who did drop something on me. $5 he dropped. So appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. And y'all, I will see y'all next time around. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.